Hi, everybody. It's Adele Frizzell here, and I'm with Coach Tiffany Buck. And today we are going to be talking about top 10 metabolism myths. As nutrition coaches, we often get asked, why do I have a slow metabolism? How can I fix my metabolism? Do fat loss pills work? Are detox teas good? Is it true my metabolism slows down? I feel like my metabolism has slowed down since I hit menopause. I don't know. There's just a lot of questions about metabolism, and our goal today is to clear up some of the misinformation that is out there. And if you have any questions that we haven't covered, please comment below. We're happy to answer all your questions about all things metabolism.
Yep. And if you're watching the replay, just tag us in the comments and we're happy to respond directly to you. If you are watching live, we will try to get to your questions while we are in the actual live video feed.
All right. So this is getting posted to YouTube later as well, just so you know. But we welcome your questions. Okay, so top 10 metabolism myths. I really haven't prepared for this, but I suppose you could say, as a health and nutrition coach, I've been preparing for years. This is a subject I feel quite comfortable with. So hit me up, Tiffany. What is the first question?
Drum roll, please. All right. So one of the biggest things that we hear from clients is they're wondering, because they've been chronic dieting their entire life, does that slow down your metabolism?
Okay, great question. When you are dieting, your metabolism will adapt. And so, yes, your metabolism will slow down, especially the bigger the calorie deficit and the longer you've been dieting for. But, huge but here, that slowing down is temporary, and those adaptations reverse as soon as you bring up calories again. So as an example, let's say you do a crash diet, you lose a bunch of weight, but then you get out of the diet and maybe you put on some weight. Well, then you're eating in a calorie surplus. So those adaptations have reversed. And those adaptations are things like your thyroid can slow down in a severe diet. Your testosterone can go lower, ghrelin, your hunger hormone, can increase, et cetera, et cetera. But all those adaptations do reverse over time.
And I think that, you mentioned a key point there. You mentioned that when people crash diet and then they come off the diet and then they gain weight, and it's because they're in a surplus at that point and they're not at maintenance calories. I think that it's important to note that if you lose a lot of weight, your caloric needs change. So if you are a smaller person than you were previously, if you could maintain your weight on, let's say, 2,000 calories, maybe now you can maintain your weight on 18,000 calories a day. The smaller you are, the less
1,800. You mean 1,800?
Yeah. 1,800. Yeah. There we go.
You know, it's so hard not to get in the weeds when you know a lot. This is the curse of knowledge, right? Like I need to get better at giving a real simple, like, yes, no answer. But because I see so, like, it's like the Matrix where the numbers are going by, right? But there is this situation and this anecdote and this, but generally, no, you cannot ruin your metabolism and slow it down permanently through repeated dieting. But there's one caveat. If you don't diet smart, if you lose a lot of muscle along with that fat loss, you can potentially cause problems for yourself, because muscle tissue burns more calories at rest than fat tissue. And if you lose a lot of muscle tissue, then potentially you are burning fewer calories at rest, not just because you're a smaller person now and your caloric needs are smaller, but because you have less active tissue. And the other thing is, as you lose muscle tissue, you lose insulin sensitivity. And so this can be a problem where you are really setting yourself up for future problems in terms of having a lot of good, blood sugar, having good blood sugar because you've lost a lot of muscle. But in general, no, it's not something to worry about. Just make
So
sure
if
you
you
don't
are
stay
worried
in.
about
I was just gonna say, just make sure you don't stay in a chronic calorie deficit.
Yeah. Or if you are worried about it and you want to make sure you don't mess it up, you can always hire a fantastic coach.
Yeah, exactly. And
Shameless plug.
we've had clients who, when they finish working with us, have lost weight, but now can eat more calories than they were previously. But there's nuance to that as well. Okay, let's go. Let's continue.
The next one is, do thinner people naturally have a higher metabolism?
So thinner people don't really have a higher metabolic rate. We'll call it that, which means their resting calorie expenditure is not higher than a normal person's metabolic rate. Somebody who weighs, has higher body fat levels. The reason that they are thin, there's two reasons. One, there might be some dysfunction, for example, hyperthyroidism. So yes, then they are burning more calories, but that's rare. We're talking hyperthyroidism. So let's get rid of the underlying health issues there. The fact that they're thinner, you probably got a friend who can eat anything she wants and stay slender. I would wager, if I were in Vegas, a whole bunch of money on the table that this person just moves a whole lot more. She's just a lot more active. She gets in more steps. She might have more fidgeting, etc. And all of that amounts to more calories burned in a day.
And it could also be overall food choices as well. Because some naturally thinner people, they tend to eat diets that are higher in, let's say, fibrous foods, more plant-based snacks versus, cheeseburgers and stuff like that. Because I used to look at people who had kids and I used to say, she must just have good genetics. Turns out, no, the shakes and the cheeseburgers were not helping me.
Oh yeah, I was assuming they weren't making better food choices. As an example, I had a friend in my 20s, and she's about 5'2", 115 pounds. And my other friend said, damn her, she eats a chocolate bar a day. Can you believe it? And this girl just moved more. She also had a cashier's job. She was on her feet all day, and she was a mom chasing kids. And, so she could have a chocolate bar a day, no problem, because her caloric needs were much higher. Yeah.
All right. So calorie per calorie, no. Will eating more frequently boost metabolisms? Because some people feel like they have to eat 6, 7, 8 meals a day in order to keep their metabolism working optimally.
Yeah, this is an old myth from the 1990s that we're still seeing persisting. And it's really with uneducated trainers, personal trainers, and coaches who have not kept up with the literature. The frequency of meals does not keep your metabolism revved at all. What matters most is total calories in a day. So if you need to maintain your weight on 2,000 calories a day, it doesn't matter if you eat 3 meals or 6 meals, as long as you're not exceeding those 2,000 calories a day.
And I would even challenge that to say a week, on the average, because it's okay to have a higher day and a lower day. But at the end of the week, you're looking for that balance. As long as it balances out, having a good average range around what your daily goal is, then you're going to be just fine. Because let's be realistic. Sometimes we want to eat out and have higher calorie meals. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to balance it out with lower calorie meals, maybe at the beginning of the week, in order to eat out on a Friday night. So balance.
Yeah, for sure. But no, eating several small meals a day does not keep your metabolism revved like some people claim. Next question.
What affects our metabolism and what can we do about it?
What affects our metabolism? Oh, there's so many inputs to this. And this is why we take a holistic approach in our coaching programs. So your sleep is a huge one. For example, if you're not getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep a night, your body can become more catabolic, which means that you will have potentially you can lose muscle. And actually, it will make it, so let's say you were dieting and you were not getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, you were getting less than that. What can happen is the body composition changes are not ideal, where a greater percentage of the weight you're losing is muscle and less of it is fat tissue. So that can really impact things. Another input would be just movement, steps every day, that can help your metabolism. You want to stay metabolically active. Your metabolism will, I don't know why I hear myself repeating again. Strange.
Oh my goodness.
Your metabolism flexes with the demands you put on it. So make sure your sleep is good. Make sure you're eating a variety of plants and having protein at every meal. Make sure you're well hydrated. Make sure you're strength training. 2 to 4 times a week is ideal. And strength training is superior to cardio when it comes to fat loss and muscle gain. Because not only are you burning calories during your workout, when you build that muscle, you're building tissues that remain metabolically active when you're at rest, which means you're burning more calories at rest. Anything else you want to add to that, Tiffany?
I mean, genetics can play a small role in it. You've got all these other things too, but I think that a lot of it is just, again, like Adele said, how active you are throughout the day makes a big portion of your metabolism. The more active you are, the more calories you're going to burn naturally.
Exactly. I did a post in this Facebook group yesterday, I believe, and I told everyone the best tools for fat loss at any age. Well, these are very similar for building your metabolism, okay? You got to eat at maintenance calories, not in a surplus and not below. This is for helping your metabolism. The other thing is you want to resistance train or strength train 2 to 4 times a week to build muscle tissue. You want to eat more protein. This helps you build muscle, and it also keeps you feeling fuller. You want to get in at least 8,000 steps a day. That's a great goal. And get in 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep at night. You do those 5 things and you're going to help your metabolism big time.
I love it. Love
Next
it.
question.
So the next question is, can you reset or speed up your metabolism? And I feel like that kind of relates back to what you just said too.
Yeah. Yeah, you can build a stronger metabolism doing those 5 things.
Yeah. Does eating before bed lead to weight gain?
Let me just back up one thing though, because a lot of people will claim, and there's books out there and programs you can buy, the metabolism reset diet, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
There is no diet that will reset your metabolism. This is about, because what we're talking about there is a stop-start. If you really want to build a healthier metabolism, there is no end date. You're going to have to eat right, and you're going to have to move every day, and ideally strength train. And that's how you build a stronger metabolism. And it's something that you do over time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a quick fix.
No.
Even when you're reversing from, like, say, chronic dieting, the chronic dieting question, you said that your metabolism it goes down, but it also goes back up. It takes time for both of it. It takes time for it to decrease, and it also takes time to increase. And that's why we also are huge advocates of taking diet breaks, because you want to make sure that you're giving your body that rest and recovery, and allowing things to get back to optimal levels based on your lifestyle, before you go into another dieting round. And it's going to help make that next dieting round even continue to be as effective as the first dieting round.
Yeah, and we have some research on this, like the Minnesota starvation experiment, which was done in the 1940s. Those men were starved and they lost 25% of their body weight in this experiment. And they lost that in a period of about 6 months while doing manual labor. Then they were actually reverse dieted out and they got back to normal body weight. Well, when they checked in on their so those metabolic adaptations that occurred for them, were pretty extreme. I believe that they lost 20% of their basal metabolic rate. But when they checked in on them again, after they had regained some of the weight and their calories were brought back up, some of those men were back to 10%, only a 10% drop within 3 months. And after a year, all of them were back to normal with their metabolic rate. So once the calories were resumed, their metabolic rate resumed. Now, it took some of them 3 months. It took some of them 6 months. It took some of them a year. So there is individual in that regard, but all of them were able to normalize after being starved, like one of the most extreme cases of dieting.
That's great news for everyone out there.
Yeah.
So the other question that I had asked was, does eating before bed lead to weight gain?
No. Why people think it leads to weight gain is because they weigh in the morning and there's more undigested food in their stomach, so they weigh heavier. And maybe their evening meal had more sodium in it or more carbs, and carbs can make you retain more water. You know, as Tiffany says, carbohydrate. Every gram of carb attracts and retains 3 to 4 grams of water. So you have a heavy carb meal, you have some sodium, and you eat late, you are going to weigh more on the scale the next day. And you should expect that. It doesn't mean that that's fat tissue, though. It just means you've got more material in your stomach. Again, it comes down to, are you eating in a calorie surplus or are you eating at maintenance calories? If you eat more calories than you need, and you keep doing that consistently, over time, you'll gain weight. Just like if you eat less calories than you need consistently, over time, you'll gain weight or lose weight, regardless of the time of day that you eat.
Yeah. I think that whenever people think of water retention, a good image for them to think of is like a camelback. Whenever you have an empty camelback, there's no water in it, no water retention. It's very, very light. But if you have a full 2 or 3 liter camelback, that can be 6 pounds. Water is heavy. Like, you may not think water is heavy, but water is heavy. If you are retaining water because you had a higher carb meal, then it's going to show up on the scale. And it can be a fairly large jump. But again, that's why we want to focus on those weekly averages and not those first morning weigh-ins and always say, oh, the scale's up. Well, now I'm just going to go eat everything because I already messed up. It's not the case. You didn't necessarily mess up. It's just your body responding to what you provided to it in a natural way.
Yeah. What's the next question?
Well, this one's kind of a 2-part question. The first one is, do fat burner tea works? And on the flip side of that, do fat loss pills work? So teas and pills.
No, they don't. And I wish I wasn't this is the problem with having ethics in this industry, because you can make a lot of money if you don't have any ethics. You can sell all kinds of crappy supplements to people that are feeling desperate. Look, I've taken the fat burner pills. So has Tiffany in the past before we knew better. Stay away from them. You might burn an extra 40 to 50 calories a day with a fat burning pill, and it's going to make you poorer, and you're probably not going to get any results, like noticeable results, but you might actually endanger your health because there can be stimulants and other things in there that are dangerous. There are cases of people going to the hospital having taken fat burning pills, going into cardiac arrest. These are stimulants, and some of them are full of ingredients that should not be in there, like fertilizer and stuff like this. Like, it is the Wild West when it comes to supplements. So please just stay away from them. Again, even a tested fat burning pill might only burn 50 more calories a day for you. And there can be pushback from your body with this. You could experience jitters. You can experience spikes in adrenaline or cortisol. You might then have a crash and not want to move off the couch, in which case you're not burning any extra calories then. So just avoid them. And same with the teas. Now, green tea can be an appetite suppressant. That can be helpful. It can curb sugar cravings, but I wouldn't consider it really a fat burning tea. Like detoxes and fat burning teas is just garbage. Save your money.
Yeah, I agree. And Adele and I were actually talking about this earlier today, and I said, you know what, even if they worked, and that's a big like if we know that they don't, but even if they burned an extra 500 calories a day, the problem is if you start to rely on a magic pill, then you're going to be caught in this yo-yo cycle. You're going to go down, you're going to go up on the scale constantly because it's not teaching you anything about your habits. It's not teaching you anything about your food, your nutrition, and stuff like that. And without that knowledge, then you're not going to understand how what you're doing day in and day out is affecting the scale. So rely less on the magic pill and learn more about your body, learn how your body responds to different situations, and ask yourself how you can challenge yourself a bit more.
Because this is also about your health, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about losing weight as quickly as possible, which may benefit your health, but it's how you lose weight that matters. And your health is also number one. So when you're working on the basics, the basic building blocks like sleep, resistance training, getting in your steps, eating protein at every meal, and not eating not eating too little or too much, you're going to improve your health over time. And the weight loss will be a consequence of those habits and behaviors if they're done consistently. All right, next question.
Are there certain foods that will help to burn off fat? We've all heard about apple cider vinegar and
oh yeah, and like you can go into the grocery store and you'll see marketing like that where packaging will say, I saw a protein powder for women, which is also a bunch of crap. It's just their marketing. It's just savvy marketing to market, food products to women. Really, there's no difference. A woman's protein powder needs are the same as a man's protein powder needs. But anyway, it had something like on the label, like take this and burn fat. And I'm like, it makes no sense. The only thing that will burn fat is keeping yourself in a calorie deficit. It's not the type of food you eat. All foods give you calories. Mm-hmm. So you have to just make sure that you're eating in a calorie deficit if you want to lose weight. We know people who have, we don't recommend it, but like Professor Mark Tubbs was a nutrition professor who lost 28 pounds eating a gas station diet to prove to his students it's not what you eat, it's how many calories you're consuming. And he had Twinkies every day. He did have a protein powder to keep some of his protein up, but he ate junk food. And actually, interestingly, not only did he lose 28 pounds in 2 months, he improved his cholesterol, he improved his blood sugar, which might be unbelievable to some people. But the fact is, our body fat can really, losing body fat can really improve our blood sugar and our cholesterol. So anyway, it's not, there are no magical foods. There are no magical pills. There are no magical teas. It really comes down to the basics. And I mean, I've tried it all too. I've tried it all, and nothing beats the basics.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
So we've got one more question here, and thank you for taking the time to answer these. These answers have been fantastic. Again, if you guys are watching, drop your questions in the comments. Happy to ask Adele any questions you have, and you can tag us, and we can always come back and answer later if you are in the Facebook Live. So final question. What is the best exercise to boost your metabolism?
Weight training.
Weight training. Now, some people might be saying, cardio. Why not cardio?
Well, cardio is a great calorie burn when you're doing cardio, but it doesn't have an afterburn effect like lifting weights. So lifting weights, you'll burn calories lifting weights, and the caloric burn can be almost equivalent to going for a short run, But what happens when you're lifting weights is you're building muscle. So you're building metabolically active tissue that burns calories at rest. You're getting the calorie burn during the workout, but you're getting the afterburn for up to 48 hours afterward as well. So huge benefits to lifting weights. And again, with more muscle mass comes more insulin sensitivity, better blood sugar control, better body composition, all of that. So yeah, lifting weights is your number one exercise for building a stronger metabolism.
Yeah. And I think that it's really important to note that cardio is just fine if you like doing a lot of cardio. It's not going to hinder you too much, but too much cardio can also lead to increased hunger, which can cause overeating, which can actually set you back instead of helping you toward your goals. So,
oh yeah. I know people who have trained for a marathon and gained weight. I'm not kidding, because their hunger increased, gained 10, 20 pounds training for a marathon, because you actually burn fewer calories than you'd think going for a run. Same with weight training. It's not a lot, when you go for exercise for an hour. So really, you want to play the long game. You want to build up that muscle tissue. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like, you love cardio, do it. It is good for your heart. It's good for your mind. Do things that you love, but also include the weight training at 2 to 4 times a week. Yeah.
I agree. Balance in everything.
Mm-hmm. I think it's great if you can get some stretching, some weight training, and some cardio in. For me, my cardio is hiking in the summer. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, hiking, and I also am going to be kayaking this summer too, so that's going to be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are all the questions, and those are the top 10 myths that we hear, or the questions that we get about metabolism. If you guys think of anything else that was not covered, I do want to pull up a comment real fast before we sign off.
Okay.
So yesterday, Joan made a post about the metabolism myths, and we had someone ask a question. She said, what are some things we can do to help our metabolism speed it up? Adele has mentioned good sleep is a big part, but what are some other things? Can taking amino acid supplements or C60 help? And Adele answered this already, but we just wanted to make sure it was on the live. So if you guys missed this post, or if you missed that post, you were able to see this or hear our response. And basically it boils down to, again, all the tips that we've already given you here, and just recognizing that there's no supplements out there that are going to be truly beneficial for speeding up your metabolism.
Yeah, save your money on the supplements, I'll do a presentation on supplements that are good. Okay. Because there's a lot of junk ones, a lot of ones that, just aren't worth the expense, but some can be beneficial for your health. And this is less about weight loss and more about health. But again, the best tools for building a stronger metabolism and maintaining a healthy body weight are eating at maintenance, resistance training 2 to 4 times a week, eating more protein, which helps you build muscle mass. It also keeps you feeling full, at least 8,000 steps a day, and getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep a night. Those are the best tools. One last thing I thought we didn't cover that comes up frequently is your metabolism doesn't slow down as you age. It's not your biological age that's slowing down your metabolism. It's your lifestyle. And that's a hard pill for some people to swallow. And, even as fit pros, we've been taught up until very recently that a woman's metabolism, men's too, slows down after the age of 30. It doesn't. Your metabolism doesn't actually slow down until you hit 60. Any slowdowns are a result of the lifestyle that you're living. So.
And I think that it's important to note, whenever you look at your 20s and you look at your 30s and you compare the two, you're a lot more active in your 20s than you are in your 30s generally. And then it just continues to increase. People tend to get less active as they age. Think of comparing your lifestyle right now with a 5-year-old. I could not keep up. Like, I have children and they are exhausting. Trying to keep up with them, it's a lot.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, we'll be monitoring the comments. Happy to respond to any and all questions that you have. Thanks for your time today, Tiffany. Good questions.
Thank you. Thank you for your answers. They were great.
All right. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.